Iblis sees human beings as very low creation. He sees them as nothing but material things, and he doesn't understand even the ruh, the soul that human beings have. So he denies human dignity, human honor, human nobility, and he wants to make sure that human beings live down to his expectations. I think that his whole battle is basically to try to prove that he was right to refuse making sajda to Nabi Adam alayhi salam. And that's been his whole battle from that time until now and until the last day. He wants to prove that human beings are not worthy of the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Nabi Adam alayhi salam and to Bani Adam. And so he is obsessed with trying to make us ignoble, with trying to make us dishonorable, with trying to make us immoral, with trying to make us violent and savage and animalistic. And I think probably the most blatant manifestation of this in the West is their adoption of this so-called theory of evolution. Because when you view human beings as nothing more than just animals, as just part of the evolutionary scheme, what you're doing is stripping away the dignity of humanity. And then, if you are someone who believes in that, then you can easily strip away the dignity and the humanity of the people that you want to exploit. See, when you reduce a man to nothing more than an animal, it's a lot easier to justify treating him like an animal. It becomes a lot easier to justify stepping on him, beating him down, keeping him in chains, because in their minds, he's just another piece of property, just like cattle, just livestock, just something to be used and abused. This idea, the so-called evolutionary belief, in my opinion, is used to excuse the worst kinds of oppression and exploitation, and always has been. They say it's the survival of the fittest. And that gives them the moral green light to exploit, to enslave, and murder whole populations for the sake of maintaining their material superiority. It's the same logic that allowed them to colonize Africa, enslave African people, wipe out Native Americans, dominate the whole global South. They reduce people, the people who they oppress, to a lower status as a creation, and then turn around and justify their cruelty by claiming that it's all part of the natural order. So this makes you weaker and lower if you're not as savage as they are. So this is, I think, the most blatant manifestation of their listening to the waswasa of Shaytaan and his absolute contempt for the human race. This is exactly what drove colonization all along. In fact, it's exactly the same principle as is now used in marketing and advertising. It's exactly the same strategy, where they're telling now consumers en masse that you're not worthwhile, you don't have value, you're not good enough, you're inadequate unless you buy my products. That's just a version of the so-called white man's burden of these are all savages and we have to go there to civilize you. In other words, we're saying that your entire culture, your entire so-called race, your entire nation is uncivilized, is backwards, is primitive, and you need us to make you better. That's exactly the same mindset, the same mentality that's employed in all consumer marketing, just to try to divert and misdirect attention away from what's actually going on here, which is that I'm trying to sell you worthless goods that you don't need, because your money has worth and your wealth has value, and I want that value that you have, so I have to make you think that you don't have any value and you need my worthless goods to give you worth, so that I can have the money that you have that actually has a value.